So in today's video, I thought I wanted to get a little bit more personal with you guys, because I wanted to talk about a topic of conversation for music producers and also music artists, which I don't think is talked enough about, because there is a reality which I've tried to do in previous videos, but never really given the sort of raw details and really what it takes not only to be a music producer, but the sort of misconception about what is being conveyed to aspiring artists and producers, and what you need to do to become a successful producer in your niche, in your craft. If you're sitting in this video watching right now and you are not happy with how much you make as a producer, maybe you want to earn more, maybe you're aspiring to be a producer or an artist, you've only just started, you're only learning the basics of how just to make music in general, whatever stage you're at, this is relevant to you, because the first thing that really just needs to point out is there's a real tendency now, you see it in music, there's a impatience in the world, a sort of expectation that if things are good and it's going to work out, it happens quickly. This is, for example, channels growing really quickly to 100,000 subscribers, or hit songs being released, artists who've never released a song before releasing their first song, getting 1 million streams, and that whole thing that if you're not that person who does that, you've put so much effort into doing something and you expect that to happen and it doesn't, then how that makes you feel afterwards completely kills your motivation before you've even got going. If I'm talking strictly from a music producer point of view, now the reality is, again, something that is said a lot today, and you watch all these tips on YouTube, and Nathan James Larson said this in one of his videos today, which is actually the inspiration behind me making this video today. So I will leave a link below so you can check the video out afterwards, because I don't want to take full credit for bringing up this topic, because he hit the nail on the head in the video that he did. But I'm just going to talk a little bit more about it, because I feel there's some things I want to say which apply and are relevant. You can watch all the YouTube tutorials in the world. You can do a tutorial on how to produce something in a certain way, how to create a certain effect using certain plugins. But at the end of the day, watching tutorials, you may learn something, but again, it's not actually improving your musicianship as a person, because don't get me wrong, it's great to learn these new tips and tricks, but if you can't apply it from a songwriting and production point of view and churning up your own ideas, then all of it becomes pointless, because you've got all this knowledge but not the know-how. And it's the same with gear and spending money on loads of expensive gear. You can invest in all the gear in the world, make yourself have the most professional setup in the world, but if you haven't applied yourself and really garnered your talent as a songwriter over many years, then it's just wasting your time, wasting money, because you're not at that level yet. So when you get all this stuff but you still see no improvement in the level of output, then you've just wasted your money, and you will then look at yourself and think that maybe you're not good enough, when it's not the case. You just haven't given yourself time to develop. Most music producers didn't set out to be music producers at the beginning. Before, they were musicians, like session musicians, or they may have even been just like writers, and then they've learned instruments, or maybe you just even learned an instrument in school, and you've kept developing that passion and gone from there. Where if you just buy all the gear and expect yourself to start making music without actually applying yourself musically or trying to practice the art of songwriting, it's just not going to work out for you, because then you're going to be many years behind loads of other producers who may have not as good gear as you, but they know how to utilize arranging and composing properly, know how to write good melodies which keep the listener gripped in for many sections of a song. If you don't know any of that, if you haven't applied yourself or taken the time to understand any sense of music theory, then you're going to struggle. Now, again, going to the example, how I've got to where I am now, which, by the way, is not in a state where I can look down on anyone watching this video and say I'm the music producer that you guys are aspiring to be, because it's not the case. There are probably music producers of you who are watching this video now and have done so much more than me and doing better than me. What I mean is, the journey to how I've got to where I am hasn't been through getting lucky, or no, this is, for me, it's been nearly over a 7-year journey now to the point. Even though I knew from a very young age, before I'd even left school, that I wanted to do music. Obviously I aspired to be a music artist. I'm sure everyone who got a guitar in my age when we were 13, 14 wanted to be Ed Sheeran. So when I left school, I joined a band, and I was in the band for a good 3 to 4 years, and I always thought that was the career I wanted to go down. I wasn't a music producer. I played instruments though. I had Logic. I wasn't very good. I couldn't produce, to be honest, maybe like a rough demo at best for the band I was in, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. But after 4 years, I got to a stage where I was probably in the worst place I've ever been mentally. I was in a band which was going nowhere. It was a little bit toxic at the time, even though the band has gone on to do really good things since. And when I decided to leave because it wasn't for me anymore, it got to a stage where I thought instantly that that was it for music, because I feel like I'd applied myself for 4 years and I was expecting all these amazing things to happen in what is really actually a very short amount of time. Again, I could have stopped there, but I didn't. I then decided that's when I wanted to be a music producer. This was at 2017. I really started to apply my production. I was learning. I would try things. I at first was trying to be a mixing and mastering engineer. I just finished a degree. I thought I was really good at music, and I quickly realized that music production was getting nowhere. So the dream of being freelance about 5 years ago ended very quickly, and I thought I'd failed again because I thought I could quickly pick up this freelance thing. I'd get work really quickly if I messaged a couple people on Instagram, and it just didn't happen. Working full-time in retail just to earn money, and I'd go home and I'd spend all my spare time making songs, eventually releasing songs, doing like little solo artist projects, and I was practicing on myself, making myself better, and again starting to try and refine my craft. The thing I say always on this channel: refine your craft, getting better, learning how you produce, learning about you, because again I always say music is a very intimate and personal experience when you're making it's a creative. It's not academic, it's creative. It's what inspires you is what your output is. Practicing on myself, starting to learn what music I like producing, sort of paved the way to what direction I was going musically. And over time, the more I wrote songs, the better I got at writing melodies, the better I got at structuring songs, better I got at writing lyrics which resonated with the right people and the sort of message I wanted to convey across. And eventually got to a stage where, again, I thought I was ready for a big job, because I thought, I produce my own songs, I'm getting good now. So I applied for a job in a studio, thinking that it was a big studio in London. I'm not going to name it, but it was a really big studio who's produced for like Boy George, Paloma Faith, I think One Direction had been in there as well. Like, it was a really big studio, and I got a chance to be a junior music producer there. And I turned up on the day in a suit, thinking that I was formal, I was ready, and how wrong I was. It was the most informal thing ever. I went into a room, I had my CV in my pocket, and the first thing that they told me to do was sit in a room for half an hour and just make my best work possible. And I was so completely thrown off by the experience. After spending so many years being comfortable refining my craft, I got my first taste of reality of diving in a deep end, and I failed again because I just wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't comfortable at all with it, and I completely botched the interview. And I left again thinking that was it. Probably for the third time at this point, I thought I should give up on doing music production, but I didn't. At this point, there was no freelance income. I wasn't on sites like Fiverr or Air Gigs, which, again, as I always say, contribute to a lot of my income as a producer. Not selling any beats or anything like that. This YouTube channel wasn't even in existence. And I'd already thought I'd failed. I thought that was it. It was 2019, and I thought I tried being a music producer. I thought it wasn't working. I didn't really want to stop there because I was passionate about it. And for these years since 2017, and what I mean about, I hadn't invested a lot in music equipment, but I'd written a lot, and I believed in myself that I can do this. I just need more time. I'd already been doing this at this point. I've been in the music industry for 5-6 years now, including the band, solo projects, and trying to be a music producer. 6 years in, where a lot of people give up after a year. You just got to keep going, and that I did. And that's when I signed up to Fiverr. I signed up to a couple different sites. I got my website going for music production, carried on making music, and slowly from 2019 to 2022, everything just started to click into place. I got better at producing. Last year, I listened back to my artist stuff after the band stuff I released in 2018, and I now listen to it and think, God, that's awful. That production work I did was awful, but at the time I thought it was good, because since then I've developed more and I got better at producing. Then I realized things start to go in your favor slowly. The algorithmic presence that I got on Fiverr from being there for a while and slowly producing my best work that I could for clients on a regular basis, even when it was once a month I was getting an order, down to 2 times a month, just kept going with it, because you have to just keep going with it, really putting in the work. And at this point now, I've been producing for 6-7 years, trying, failing so many times, and I've even had a couple of failures since I started doing even this YouTube channel. The whole thing that I have in my head constantly is I always still can get better. I always need to develop. Should never be a point in your life where you think that's it. I'm 100% the best of my producing capabilities, even if you're doing really well. But you should still be looking at yourself and always thinking, how could I improve as a producer to keep going forward? Because times change, trends keep changing, genres constantly will be mixed up, and you always need to be on that. So the most important thing about becoming a successful music producer is really, as I say in all my videos, refining your craft, working on yourself, working on your musicianship. That's the most important thing. You can spend all the money in the world on plugins. It's not going to make you a good producer. That is the reality of it. So what I want you to take away from this video is to go away and evaluate yourself. How good are you right now? How good do you want to be? Always find these little ways to push yourself. Try and broaden your expertise in different genres as a producer. Always think how you could improve yourself, because that is the product. You're selling a service, and your service is only good as your capabilities. So really think about that, because for me, this is probably the most important video I'm ever going to make on the channel. I could give all the advice in the world about how you can make your guitar sound nicer, how you can make your vocals really pop in a mix, how you can achieve that sonically superior mastering results. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand the process, or you don't have the ear for it, you're never truly going to be able to replicate them results for yourself. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I know it was a long one, but I really hope the point I got across was in the right way and not in the wrong way, because I'm never trying to ever be patronizing, telling producers how you can get to, for example, my stage, because as I say, I've failed so many times and I'm going to fail so many times in the future. And for me, failure is something that I not look forward to but embrace, because it shows that I'm trying and always trying to do better. And even if I do fail, it's just a lesson that you can adapt to, change things up, and constantly improve yourself, make yourself a better musician, make yourself a better producer, because that's what it's all about. You always want to push yourself. So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you did, and I'll see you in the next video.